Every moment of every day, you have the ability to truly learn something fascinating that could really impact your life. And I'm now a personal trainer. I've been working in a gym for about 3 months, helping people change their physiques, change their lives. And for the most part, I'm a salesperson at that too. I'm Terrell Banks. I'm a personal trainer who likes to trade Forex, lift a lot of weights, and study personal development. And I'm going to teach you all the lessons I wish I learned so that you can skip the hard parts of life and be the most successful you can be. Now, with this situation, I found out three of the biggest things of my now current job, but arguably my life, just based off one conversation with an older guy. Love him to death, talk to him every single day. And one time we were having a conversation as we were both leaving the gym, and I told him about how I was creating a course on how to shape the person you want to be, create the character of your own life movie, and how I'd gotten it to become a college course. But here's the catch. I pretty much told him about the course I had created, told him the price point and how I was trying to figure out how to market it and push it out to the world. And at one point he stopped and was like, wait, how old are you again? And I was like, oh, I'm 25. And he was like, oh, then what do you know? Why should anybody trust your young ass? And I was like, well, one, I was vegan for 4 years. I was pescatarian for 2, and now I eat a regular diet. I've been a lifelong athlete, played on multiple teams and became a captain and a leader within every environment I've been in. And I graduated college. Before I graduated high school, I got 2 master's degrees. And just because we're talking about the course, I was able to actually get that to be a part of a college course here in town, where now 20 plus students are learning my information and having to do a project where they're going out of their way to actually change who they are, create a new version of themselves, and they're using my system and implementation. And when I told him this, he stopped for half a second and was like, wait, hold on. You got it into a college course? How'd you manage to do that? I was just like, I mean, I know people, but after they went through my course, they saw the value in it. So then they made some moves to put it within a college. And so at that point, he ended up like changing frame. He was like, oh, well, tell me more about the course. And I was like, sorry, I have to head out, but I'll let you know about that next time. And since that day, he's rarely talked to me as much. He'll give me a handshake. He'll be like, oh, it's nice to see you again. It's always a pleasure. But before that day and before that moment, he would come up to me every single day to try and have a conversation. And now, unless I come up to him or I'm in his vicinity, he makes no effort to speak to me. And it's almost like he's shy. And so through this situation, I learned 3 big things that have a handful of different keys. First of which is you're not being cocky if you tell the world your value. Now, in this situation, he was so confused why I could write a course about how to become the person you want to be and how to make that person become a reality because he didn't know who I was. He didn't have any verifiable proof or validation that I had the right to talk about that. Granted, I'm 25, so yes, I am young. I'm working at the gym he goes to as a personal trainer. And at this point, I was still within the training phase of being in that job. And so from his perspective, he didn't know me, he didn't know my value, and he didn't know what I brought to the table, which was completely fine and understandable. But at the same time, he tried to test my character, test who I was and what I could do because he had no frame of reference. So point number 1 is talk your shit. Tell the world about how good you are and stand on it, because if you don't, people will disqualify you because of their lack of knowledge of your capabilities. If you don't take the time to really say, I'm that guy and I could do this shit better than you think I can, and if you put money in my hand, I'll make sure that anything I promise you will be done, and then you stand on that. If you don't do that, people will really undermine you because of their own limited beliefs and who they are, what they can accomplish, and what they've seen in their environment. And I'm not from San Angelo. I'm not typically the person that works in the gym. But also, I did walk in that gym, and in the first 3 months, I was the number 2 in sales every single month. Well, I was number 1 up until the last day of the month for December, January, and now I'm number 2 for February, but I think I may be able to end up being number 1. Also, I'm one of the most well-known people in the gym, and I've only been here for 3 months. Granted, I worked out there, so I already knew some people, but the biggest thing is I walked in the gym and was told I need to become a common face. So what I decided to do was go give some damn fist bumps to every single person multiple times a day, and now it's to a point where people constantly come up, like even today, this morning, like 4 hours ago. I was in the middle of a conversation trying to sell a transformation challenge to a person, and he was like, "Oh, wait, you're the Terrell I've been hearing about?" He was like, "Yeah, like your fist bumps are really making a difference. Keep it up, please." And so just by me being me, just by me doing what I do, I was able to come in and become popular, but one of the most well-known personal trainers, at least within Crunch, because that's who I am and that's how I do things. And so for me to talk my shit and say, yeah, I'm really that guy, would not me be being cocky in any sense. It would be me being honest and just knowing the value I have to actually be able to share what I can provide for other people. That's me being able to put value out, because people are going to validate me based on their own understanding of who I am from their limited perception. So you have to tell them, I'm this person, I've done this, and I can and I will do this for you as soon as you put money in my pocket. Number two, this situation had also taught me I am working as a personal trainer right now as a tool to be able to grow, develop, and go where I want in life. This is not my be all end all. And I already had that idea, already had that conception in my mind. But the biggest problem was, because of the jobs I had worked in the past, because of the situations I had been in, I was broke, searching for anything that would give me an opportunity, and starting to lose belief in the future that I had written for myself. And so when I ended up having this conversation and realizing, like, if I talk my shit, I make people get this understanding. Like if I really step up and be like, dude, I've done this, I've done that, I'm capable of this. I don't even talk about this because I don't want to seem cocky. I don't want to be the person who talks themselves up every moment. And people will really stop in their entire viewpoint on what they're willing to buy from me, what they're willing to talk about from me, and different situations within that. Then, oh yeah, I'm really that guy. So as of now, the job I'm currently in, I need to use as a tool to learn how to sell, how to network, and really how to build a solid platform and program so that I can be able to emulate that and use it to my benefit later. It's not going to benefit me to lock in, stay at one gym for 20 plus years training a certain subset of people. But if I can learn the basics of business, if I can learn to run the numbers, I learn what systems to track what, and I learn how to go about all these different things, especially networking, especially sales, and especially just client acquisition, then I will be in a better off situation than if I did not. And you can use this for yourself too. If you work a job you hate, there are certain aspects within your job at this very moment you can use to steal. You can use that information and steal it for your own benefit and gain if you open your eyes and pay attention. But too many people are so focused on, I'm here for a paycheck, I'm going to do the bare minimum, and I'm getting out of here, that they don't even look around and get the game that God has placed in front of them. Like the job you work at, whether you're at McDonald's, if you're at McDonald's, okay, you're learning to network. If you're a bag boy and you're handing food to someone, if you practice striking up a conversation every single time, you'll get so used to talking to people all the time, you'll be able to walk in any building, talk to any person, and have a great conversation. That's what I've been doing through Crunch. I've talked to so many people now that my video skills are getting a lot better. I'm a lot better at enunciating, articulating, and having a tone and pace that people actually want to listen to. So once you get down with that and you really understand that the job you're working, you're able to use as a tool to pick up knowledge for your own benefit, then the last thing would be, on your journey to be the absolute best you can be, you need to value stack. First, your first level of value is going to be yourself. Being able to pop your shit, talk about how valuable you are and the skills you have so that people actually trust, believe, and authenticate what you say so that they're willing to buy. From there, you need to be able to have value to show them why their struggle, while their problem is holding them back from the success they want. Because now you're giving them value saying, look, I understand you're comfortable where you're at. You need to make these moves to be able to make a change so that you can be in a better place in life. And once people can understand that and know you're coming from a place of love, you've just given them a big piece of value, because until you realize what you're going through, you'll never try and change what you're dealing with. And once you've gotten that out of the way, then you need to add more value by showing them exactly how you can solve that pain you just created within their heart. If you make someone realize they have a problem in their life that is affecting them more than they realize, then once you give them the answer, once you give them the code of success, then those people are going to be like, wow, he really helped me. So for me, a good example is with my content, I'm trying to give you guys all the answers that I struggled with personally. I'm trying to tell you what I dealt with, my story, and how I was able to solve that problem or the answers to the problem as I'm starting to learn it. So in a sense, I'm pretty much giving you value. I'm giving you answers. I'm giving you keys and tools to use so that you feel more comfortable in your own situation and you're able to push past your first few barriers until the point where you're like, yeah, if Terrell says something, I'm going to trust that because last time he said this and I did that, man, everything became so much easier. And once you're at that point where you're giving away free value, you've already shown people to trust you. You've shown them why their problem's a problem. Then you were able to show them steps on how to solve that problem. Now, when you say, hey, if you want to put 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, however much money in my hand, and I will completely wipe that problem away for you, and you can start focusing on other things, people will be so happy to actually put money in your pocket. Now, how does that actually relate back to the story? Well, once I had that conversation with this sir, I pretty much ended up going back home, having my lunch break, and then I went back to the gym. And once I got back, I was in a different mind frame where I was like, from now I'm going to let people know like just how capable I am, because if he was willing to discount me and he was the person who talked to me arguably the most out of everyone at the gym, then most of these people who come on these consultation meetings with me probably think I'm just like some random black dude who really hasn't done anything. And so now when I go through my consultation meetings, I'm far more authoritative in the sense that when we get to a certain point in the conversation, I'll be like, all right, stop. Consultation time is this way. Right now, I'm going to sit here and coach you. I'm going to coach your mindset. I'm going to coach your belief set. I'm going to coach you on what you need to know so that by the time we get to our movement assessment, by the time we start breaking down your body fat percentage, your muscle, your whatever, you already have a new mind frame and you're thinking about how to actually progress further throughout your fitness journey without even needing personal training. But by the time I get to that personal training aspect, now it's like, all right, look, I've already told you some keys to succeed, but if you want this to be easy, if all you want to do is track your food, come in and be told how to work out and you're going to get the most results, this is the plan I put together. I think you should do PT this many days. And a lot more people are going for it. A lot more people are leaning in. A lot more people are willing to answer me. And a lot more people are more comfortable with the idea of it. So if you want to be able to make a change, first and foremost, you need to understand that you need to talk highly of yourself. Talk highly of your abilities, talk highly of what you can do, talk highly about who you are, talk highly about your past, whether it was bad or good, because if it was bad and you made it out and you're the person you are today, then that shows you know what you did. If it was good, well, then that means you have a good foundation on how to help people who are coming from a bad situation. Either way, you have the information, you have the knowledge, and you have the skills to help somebody. So you need to pop your shit so people don't try and disqualify you based on their own preconceived notions. Then you need to actually look around yourself and assess what you can learn to use for your own benefit. Stop being so blind and saying, I'm at this job to work. No, you're at this job to learn and get a process done. If you can learn that process well enough, you can go do it on your own. If you do taxes for some organization and you quit and start doing tax for people by yourself, you can make a lot of money. If you're a forklift driver, if you want to quit, you can just be a solo forklift driver for organizations that do this job or that job. And third, you need to make sure you know your value and you start adding to it. Value stack, value stack, value stack. Give people as much value as possible. So when you say, now I need you to run me back some of that value, you can put a high price tag on it and make a lot of money. And that's the process I'm working on internally as of now. So if you want to see this journey, you want to see me progress and become the person I'm meant to be through my personal manifesto, well then hit that follow button, like, comment what was the biggest piece that you took from this, and I'll see you later for the next video.